The Sagrestia Vecchia di San Lorenzo, or the Old Sacristy of San Lorenzo, is the oldest of two sacristies located in Florence's Basilica of San Lorenzo. It is considered one of the most important monuments of early Italian Renaissance architecture. Designed by architect Filippo Brunelleschi in 1419, it was commissioned by the Medici family. The space serves as a mausoleum for the Medici patriarchs. Throughout the centuries, there has been debate over a mural located in the dome enclosing the altar. The fresco's image depicts a beautifully rendered and scientifically accurate astronomy chart. Mystery surrounds this mural as there is little remaining information surrounding its origin, date, and artist. Some historians believe Leon Battista Alberti to be the original artist, while newer research attributes it to a lesser-known artist, Giuliano Pisello. Using new astronomical research, I will uncover the meaning of the date depicted in the mural as it relates to the room below it. I argue that the date depicted in the mural is the day of the closing of the Council of Florence, Monday, July 6, 1439, at around 10:30 a.m. The Medici family were directly involved in this event. I will also uncover information on Alberti and Pisello to understand the relationship between their work and the cupola's ceiling. On commission from Cosimo de' Medici, one or two unidentified artists frescoed a detailed star map on the dome over the altar. The first major study of Sagrestia Vecchia's fresco was conducted by Giuseppe Forti, who used computer programming and the Alphonse tables, an astronomical table and computational system used during the 15th century. Forti found that the date is around July 4th, 1442 at around 10:50 a.m. The date of July 6, 1439 has new scientific information to prove its legitimacy. Even though the date of July 4th, 1442 marked an important day in the personal lives of the Medici family, which would make sense for an intimate space like a mausoleum, the date of July 6, 1439 is far more important politically. The Medici were a powerful political family, and marking a date that helped them establish power within the papacy seems far more worthy of being marked in a mural. The Council of Florence was the 17th ecclesiastical meeting, where Latin and Greek officials signed the Articles of the Union between Eastern and Western Catholicism. Cosimo de' Medici funded the council, which initially started in Basel, moved to Ferrara, and then to Florence. Pope Eugenius IV was pushed out of Rome after being labeled a heretic at the Council of Basel. The dejected pope took refuge in Florence, arriving in June 1434, while Cosimo was still in exile. Cosimo funded and politically supported Eugenius, which helped him regain authority in Florence and within the papacy. With the Medici bank's assistance, the council moved to Florence in the summer of 1439. On July 5th, 1439, the Articles of the Union between the Latin and Greek delegates was finally signed. The next day, July 6th, was deemed a public holiday and the Florentine people celebrated. All of this would have not been possible without the help of Cosimo de' Medici, who had just been brought back to Florence out of exile. Understandably, a date of this importance would fit within a mausoleum celebrating a political dynasty like the Medici. Not to mention that, upon returning to Florence in 1434, Cosimo was eager to complete renovations in the old sacristy. To understand the meaning of the date, I will first independently verify it using my own amateur astronomical knowledge, and then research provided by astronomers. At first glance, what we see clearly defined are the sun and moon. The sun is seen between two zodiac constellations on the ecliptic. Specifically, it is in between Cancer and Gemini, indicating the date is in July. The moon is placed within the constellation Taurus, which in the month of July means the time is earlier in the day since Taurus isn't visible at night in summer and fall. Now that I've established a basic picture of the astronomical mural, I will use astronomer and chemist Christophe de Riff's research to further certify my claim. Riff reevaluates research from Arthur Beer and Giuseppe Forti. De Riff finds that the mural doesn't line up mathematically to the 1442 date. He asserts that the astronomer who created the diagram thought carefully about the local meridian and the position of San Lorenzo. They line up perfectly on the mural, and in calculating the time of true local noon, when the sun is directly overhead, de Riff argues that the time in the mural is 10:30 a.m. This is based on the position of the sun in the mural and corresponds to the July 6, 1439 date. The only accurate planet for the 1442 date is the moon at 56.8 degrees, but only for the time 1:34 a.m., a strange time to commemorate. What is also left out of previous reports is the metonic cycle, which occurs every 19 years. It causes the phases of the moon to recur at the same time throughout the year. Coincidentally, this cycle occurred during the year 1439 and excludes the year 1442. Essentially, every 19 years, the sun and the moon will be at roughly the same point in the sky every day, coinciding with other years that occurred during that cycle. Taking this into consideration, along with the recalculated planetary positions that refer to orbital periods and the equinox, de Rea finds that they are off by several hours from his 10:30 a.m. time. For the 1439 date, the sun and the moon align near perfect to the mural, and at times during the early morning or afternoon rather than at times in the middle of the night. The time de Rea found for July 6, 1439 are as follows: the moon, 8:53 a.m. at 56.8 degrees, the sun, 12:05 p.m. at 111.8 degrees. De Reaf's research debunks earlier ideas and presents the most clear and concise scientific argument for the date. With this day in mind, I will attempt to attribute the mural to one of the two artists. There are two artists believed to be the painters of Sagrestia Vecchia's mural, Leon Battista Alberti and Giuliano Pisello. The two are roughly contemporary, with Pisello being older than Alberti. They both lived and worked in Florence. Both have entries in Giorgio Vasari's The Lives of the Most Eminent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects. Giuliano Pisello's entry is brief. Vasari notes that Pisello was an animal painter. At the age of 30, Pisello became an independent master. Pisello was commissioned by the Medici to paint murals of a hunting scene. He was fairly well known in Florence, but sadly died at the age of 31. Alberti's entry is lengthy and detailed. Vasari focuses on Alberti's architectural work, giving his paintings a short section at the end. Vasari gives Alberti praise for his knowledge of perspective, which came from his understanding of Latin texts. As for his painting, Vasari was far more critical. Quote, "In painting, Leon Battista did not do great or very beautiful works, for the few by his hand that are to be seen do not show much perfection," unquote. According to Vasari's assessment, Alberti was far better at drawing. Using this information, perhaps, at least according to Vasari, we can assume that there is a possibility that Alberti drew the figures in Sagrestia Vecchia's astronomical chart, and another artist completed the final renderings. Maybe that artist is Giuliano Pisello. This is difficult to trace, as James Beck points out in his article, Leon Battista Alberti and the Night Sky at San Lorenzo, quote, "Not a single documented work by him, Pisello, has come down to us," unquote. This is a compelling argument, and it makes sense considering that Alberti was working in Florence during this time. But if we are to believe Vasari's account, he was not a strong painter, so it wouldn't make sense for Alberti to have painted the mural on his own. Pisello was a skilled animal painter and, just like Alberti, also had connections to the Medici. For an artwork that contained mostly animal figures, choosing a painter skilled in that subject would be natural. Since there is no remaining information on the mural's artists and the time frame the mural was painted aligns with the dates both artists were active, this makes the attribution difficult. In my personal opinion, I find Pisello to be the most compelling attribution to the mural. Not only did he work for the Medici and was commissioned to make a large piece that contained figures of animals, his skill as an animal painter makes the most sense. I believe him to be the strongest link to the mural, although there is still speculation and some also believe that Donatello could have painted it as well. We may never know who was the true painter of the sky in San Lorenzo's Sagrestia Vecchia, but what we do know now is that the date is July 6, 1439.